Hey guys, let's get more news about Dallas, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Proposed quarterback trade has Cowboys striking deal with Panthers. The Dallas Cowboys have some serious flaws on the franchise's roster, but the team does have a plethora of quarterbacks. Meanwhile, Bryce Young lasted all of 2 games in his second NFL season before losing the Carolina Panthers starting quarterback gig. Could the Panthers now be in the market for a new quarterback after benching Young? Former Cowboys quarterback Andy Dalton is now the Panthers' starting signal caller, but it is unclear if this is a permanent solution. Dallas has Cooper Rush and Trey Lance sitting behind Dak Prescott. Rush is likely the preferable option if the Panthers are looking for a quarterback who can play right away. Lance is more of a project, and Carolina appears to already have that in Young. For the purposes of this exercise, let's focus on a trade pitch that would send Rush to the Panthers. Realistically, the Cowboys are unlikely to land more than a future day 3 pick in exchange for Rush. The signal caller is in the final season of a 2-year, $5 million contract. Rush has a team-friendly $2.8 million cap hit for 2024. Heavy on Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys quarterback Cooper Rush could make some sense for the Carolina Panthers. It remains to be seen what kind of a trade market Rush has ahead of the November 5, 2024, deadline. We do know that Rush had multiple teams interested in his services during NFL free agency in 2023, including the Las Vegas Raiders and Cincinnati Bengals. After going 4-1 last season as the Dallas Cowboys starting quarterback while Dak Prescott recovered from thumb surgery, Rush was a hot commodity in free agency, ESPN's Todd Archer wrote in an April 4, 2023, story titled, "Bad Weather, a Delayed Flight and Kismet?" How Cooper Rush's deal with Cowboys got done. He was flying to Las Vegas that day to meet with the Raiders, and the Cincinnati Bengals also expressed interest and hoped to set up a visit. Though the flight was never canceled, Rush never got on the plane. He took a night to sleep on the Cowboys' offer and woke up on St. Patrick's Day with a 2-year deal worth a max of $6 million that included a $1.25 million signing bonus. The Cowboys will need to decide if the team prefers having depth behind Prescott over potentially landing a future draft pick. Dallas could also look to pull off the rare player-for-player swap. Running back Miles Sanders has mostly been stuck on the sideline and could make some sense for the Cowboys given the team's rushing woes. Would Rush be an upgrade at quarterback over Dalton for the Panthers? Rush's best season came in 2022 when the quarterback filled in for an injured Prescott. The veteran threw for 1,051 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions while completing 58% of his passes in 9 appearances, including 5 starts. Both Rush and Lance will hit free agency this offseason. It would seem unlikely that Dallas would make a strong push to keep both quarterbacks now that Prescott has signed a long-term deal. For now, Lance is an expensive third-string quarterback with a $5.3 million cap hit in 2024. The NFC East is a logjam 2 weeks into the season. It was a crazy week in the NFL's second week of the 2024 season. It may take a few days to find a proper description for the NFC East's second week of play. The Dallas Cowboys came into the week looking for a 2-0 start and got run out of their own building. The Philadelphia Eagles had a chance to also go 2-0 and take early command of the division. They found a way to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory instead. The New York Giants got one of the better games from Daniel Jones in about a year. They lost to a team that couldn't score a touchdown. The Washington Commanders couldn't find the end zone, but kicked their way to victory instead, being the only team in the division to win in the second week. Nope, crazy doesn't quite cover it, does it? I know I picked Dallas to go 8-9 this year. Who knew that an 8-9 finish might win the division in January? The Cowboys were looking to put pressure on the Eagles with a home opening win over the New Orleans Saints on Sunday. The Saints had other plans. They also had a quarterback leading touchdown drives instead of field goal drives. New Orleans also had a running game and a defense that showed up, at least a little better than Dallas did. That's how you end up on the wrong end of a 44-19 beatdown. It's also how you end up 1-1 to start the season. The Cowboys are going to be a Jekyll and Hyde team this year. They do not have a running game. The decision to skip drafting a running back in the second round to take an edge rusher they didn't need came back to haunt them on Sunday. The aforementioned edge rusher, Marshawn Kneeland, failed to register a single stat in Sunday's loss for those keeping score. Rico Dowdle had 30 yards on 7 carries to lead Dallas' rushing attack. Derrick Henry, the free agent Dallas Jerry Jones couldn't be bothered to call, merely rushed for 84 yards and 2 touchdowns on Sunday for Baltimore. Just think how motivated he'll be next week when the Ravens come to town. How bad are the Giants this year? Their beleaguered quarterback throws for 2 touchdowns without an interception, their running back adds a touchdown and nearly rushes for 100 yards, and the defense kept the opponent out of the end zone. And they still lost the game. By allowing 7 field goals in a 21-18 loss to the Washington Commanders. Ouch. It didn't help that they lost their kicker to injury, forcing them to go for 2 on their last 2 touchdowns after their punter missed the PAT on the first score. The Eagles had a chance to go to 2-0 and take sole possession of the division lead on Monday night. Somehow, they lost 22-21 to the Atlanta Falcons, despite apparently having the game wrapped up in the final 2 minutes. Philadelphia passed up an easy field goal earlier in the game. They compounded their error by throwing a pass on 3rd down with 1:47 to go. The pass fell incomplete and the Eagles kicked a field goal for a 21-15 lead instead. With no timeouts, Kirk Cousins led Atlanta 70 yards on 6 plays in 65 seconds for the go-ahead score. Jalen Hurts was picked off trying to get Philadelphia into field goal range in the final 30 seconds of the game. Saints QB Derek Carr completely disrespects Cowboys fans. The New Orleans Saints went into AT&T Stadium in Week 2 and outplayed the Dallas Cowboys on all 3 levels. New Orleans walked away with a dominant 44-19 over Dallas and enjoyed every second of it. So much so that QB Derek Carr was caught celebrating a little too much. For the first time since Week 16 of the 2020 season when he was still playing for the Las Vegas Raiders, Derek Carr found the end zone as a runner. And you fan? What do you think of the situation of Derek Carr? Leave your opinion in the comments.